Nebraska just wrapped up their second week of fall practice, and over the last couple of days, we got a bunch of new nuggets regarding the team. So in today's video, I'm going to fill you in on everything you need to know, what Matt Rhule said in his press conferences, breakout players, storylines, and then of course a little bit of inside information. So really quick, I have a jam-packed fall camp video for today. Make sure to hit that like button if you're fired up. And hey, if you're new to the channel or just a returning viewer, make sure to subscribe. I post a video about Nebraska football every single day, and I'm not stopping anytime soon. So if you're a diehard fan of this program, please subscribe if you don't want to miss out on daily content talking about your favorite team. But without further ado, let's get into it, talking about Nebraska football fall camp week 2 and some of the biggest storylines from Lincoln. So the first thing I want to talk about in today's weekly recap is the positional group that has played the best so far throughout fall camp, and that is the wide receivers. Every single day, I hear about a different player in that positional room. It's Jamal Banks. It's Jalen Lloyd. There's a couple of days where Isaiah Nayer's playing great. But the depth in that room is so phenomenal. You have guys like Isaiah Garcia-Castaneda who are leaders. Honestly, he's underrated. You have guys like Malachi Coleman, Janiran Bonner. It's such a deep room, and a lot of these guys are playing very well. Garrett McGuire talked with the media a little bit earlier in the week, and he said it's a very deep room that he would feel comfortable with multiple guys starting. And that's something I've talked about throughout the summer, that, yeah, you feel good about Jamal Banks, Nayer, and, of course, Jalen Lloyd, but you'd feel comfortable with Coleman starting. You'd feel comfortable with Bonner starting, Barney starting. So, again, I just keep hearing good stuff about this wide receiver room. And I want to go back to Isaiah Garcia-Castaneda. We love to talk about, guys like Lloyd, Coleman, Barney. Those guys are very exciting. But IGC is going to get some real run. I don't think he's going to necessarily start for the Huskers, but don't be surprised if he's one of the first wide receivers off the bench for Nebraska. Again, he's a leader. He's a guy that when he's been healthy for the Huskers, he's played very well. So expecting him to get some real playing time, but it's a very deep room. I just keep hearing stuff about it every single day, so I've got to mention it. But I know I'm going to get a question about this. Who's been the best performing wide receiver so far? I have two names for you. It's either Isaiah Nayer. I just keep hearing his name. The fact that he's just as big as Jamal Banks, yet he moves so fluidly. He has great speed, great hands. That's the number one. And the number two, shouldn't be a surprise, Jalen Lloyd's on a different level. He's been great, not only in fall camp, but he was my MVP in spring camp as well. So that's my first note, talking about the wide receivers. Let's talk about the injury report, because we got a lot of updates throughout the course of the week. Guys who got banged up, potentially are out for significant amounts of time, and guys who are also coming back from injuries. So first things first, let's talk about the guys who are coming back from injury. Tristan Alvano, who is confirmed to be out for the start of fall practice, is back. He is back and kicking for the Huskers, and we'll talk about that kicking situation a little bit here. Matt Rhule said that he wants to be automatic from about 35, 40 yards out. As of right now, we're only automatic from about 25 yards out. We're reliable from 30 yards. So we're getting there, but Alvano's not playing well enough. And honestly, a lot of the other kickers in that room aren't playing well enough just yet. John Hull's not playing well enough, along with Nico Otto-Manelli. So they're doing okay, but we'd like to see them improve going into the season. But Tristan Alvano is back. A couple other guys here. Turner Corcoran has been out for a couple days now. He should be back going into this week. Just a day-to-day injury, lower body. Hopefully this is not persist with him, but we need him to be healthy going into the season. Bly Hill is back for the Huskers, not completely 100% back, but he's practicing in the yellow jersey, so very big development there. He might be ready to go by the season. That would be huge. And then let's talk about some of the new injuries, because there's a lot of them. First off, a couple true freshmen. President Tamoa is out as of right now. Probably won't be ready to go by the start of the year. He's a true freshman. He probably wasn't going to play anyway, so not a big deal. Larry Tarver, out. He was in the yellow jersey right now. Not sure what the injury is just yet. Waiting to get confirmation on it, but he was noted to be out. Again, another day-to-day thing. He should be ready to go by the season. And then there's a couple guys who have some significant injuries. Jake Peters, true freshman offensive lineman, will probably be out for the entire year, had a torn meniscus. And then Bryce Turner, who's a very similar player to Jeremiah Charles, broke his hand, and he'll probably be out for the entire season as well. And speaking of Jeremiah Charles, I forgot to mention him. He has a day-to-day injury as well. His shoulder got banged up. So again, guys are getting injured. Nothing too concerning here besides, of course, Jake Peters and Bryce Turner being out for the year, but those guys probably weren't going to play anyways. Our starters are healthy. That's the most important thing. All right, let's go to the breakout players for this week. Who are the guys who played the best? I have about 5 or 6 names for you that I'm going to roll over. Number 1 is a guy that, honestly, I would be shocked if more than 15% of the fan base knew. Grant Segrin. So if you're not familiar with this guy, he's 6'6", 260, plays offensive tackle, and Matt Rhule has mentioned him time and time again by him practicing with the ones. He's going to get some run this year. Now, he is a second-year player. He was originally a walk-on. I still believe he's a walk-on, coming in from Oakland Craig, and he's just a very athletic kid. Honestly, has some really good upside. But the fact that he's practicing with the ones shows you that amount of potential in him. Now, to be completely honest with you, I am a little bit concerned that a second-year walk-on is running with the starters. That shows you a little bit of lack of depth in that area. But Grant Segrin has been playing very well, and ideally, he can be that guy going into next year where he might be in the mix to start. So watch out for Grant Segrin. A lot of you guys might not know who he is, but he's been playing very well. James Williams is a guy that I constantly keep hearing about. He could be our sack leader this year. No doubt about it. Terrence Knight keeps glowing about him. Same with Tony White. He's a great depth piece on this defensive line. He's fully a 3 technique at this point, so he's not going to be playing jack. He's going to be playing on that D line at D end. And James Williams, just a pure pass rusher. We redshirted him last year, and again, I keep hearing stuff about him that he's just been balling out, getting to the quarterback. So watch out for James Williams. Again, he won't necessarily start, but the Huskers rotate about 6-7 defensive linemen a game, so he'll get in the game a lot. Jeremiah Charles is my 3rd breakout player this week. He had a great week. Really good week for the Huskers. Yes, he got a little banged up, but he had an interception or 2 in practice. Honestly, man, that athletic upside has really been flashing, and he can be a true man-to-man corner. Just he has to figure everything out playing football because he's only been playing for about 3 years now. But Jeremiah Charles, again, the hype is there, and it honestly is worth it, or it's honestly valid because he's been playing pretty well throughout fall camp. Now, I think he's likely going to be the Huskers' 4th, if not 5th corner on the depth chart, but he'll get some run this year for sure. Couple other guys here I want to mention. Keona Davis has been the big talking point, true freshman defensive lineman. Terrence Knight compared him to a Ndamukong Suh, so a lot of stuff around him. I don't think Keona will play this year. I think they want to keep his red shirt on, especially in a very low defensive line room. But Keona Davis, very, very hyped up, and he had a very good open practice the other day. Jalen Lloyd is my 5th breakout here. Listen, he's not necessarily a breakout player, but he was my MVP in spring ball. And he's been playing so well throughout fall camp. The speed is legit. He's getting developed in all areas of the game. He's learning the playbook. Jalen Lloyd, just buy stock right now. That's my one buy stock player, right? You got to expect big things from him because he has NFL potential and he's going to take a huge step this season. One more breakout for you. Gunnar Katula on that offensive line has been rolling with the ones. Again, I talked about him extensively. We almost burned his red shirt last season. That's how well he's playing as a true freshman. He's going to be in the mix to start. I think he's honestly going to battle Turner Corcoran. I know a lot of people are penciling in Corcoran right now to start at left tackle. Don't be surprised if Gatula maybe pushed him for that. I'm not predicting that to happen, but I think that Gatula is a very good talent and is probably going to be a pretty solid depth piece for the Huskers. So those are a couple of breakout players who had a really good week, and I just kept hearing little bits about. Let's talk about the scrimmage yesterday because that was very interesting for the Huskers. There was nobody there. Matt Rhule said that basically nobody was in attendance besides the coaching staff and, of course, legendary head coach Tom Osborne. He said that the families were not there, that high school head coaches were not there, scouts weren't there, basically just to let the players play. No outside noise, no expectations. Go out there and play your best brand of football. And they did just that. So for that reason, I don't really have any notes about the fall or about the scrimmage. I didn't really hear any murmurs. But Matt Rhule did have an interview, a press conference per se, about how it went. Well, the first thing he said was both sides looked very physical. Both the defensive and offensive line got some good reps. They looked very developed. And he also said that it was a pretty clean scrimmage, that there weren't, dumb penalties, false starts, penalties before the snap. And a lot of times you see that from a first scrimmage. He said it was very clean and honestly night and day compared to last year. So definitely good development there. Again, all about discipline. That's what the best teams in the Big Ten do. They have good disciplinary units, and Matt Rhule's obviously doing a good job. He said that the young weapons are going to be great. So that really just tells you Jalen Lloyd had a good day. Isaiah Nair had a good day. Malachi Coleman had a good day. So he just keeps talking about these young weapons. Ja'Cory Barney's another name there. Watch out for those guys. And then he also said something that I've harped on, that the difference between the first team offense and the third team offense, or the first team defense and the third team defense, it's not as big as you would think. And that's night and day compared to what it was last year, where, okay, yeah, the first team defense is very solid, but okay, you get to that third team and it's garbage. That's not the case. That shows you how deep this roster is, that there's a bunch of up-and-comers for the Huskers, and I feel really confident about a lot of these depth pieces going forward, especially in 2025 and 2026. Last thing that he mentioned that was of significance is next week they will be voting for single-digit players. So we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. Of course, I made my predictions video about who I believe will get their single digits. Watch that. I believe I posted that a couple days ago, so check that out on my channel, but definitely watch out for that. But big week for the Huskers. We have 2 more weeks of fall camp, and then, of course, it is game week. Man, exciting times around the program. I'm pumped up. Let me know down below who's been your breakout player so far during fall camp. And, hey, if you made it this far in the video, make sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. Again, I posted every single day this summer, and I'm not stopping anytime soon. But that'll do it for me on the channel. Wilson Dittman signing off. Go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one.